The year is 1245, some 3 years after the catastrophic defeat of the Battle of the Ice by the Teutonic Order. However, they were eager to avenge their losses against Novgorod, with their ranks bolstered by an influx of crusaders from Bavaria to Sicily. The armies of the Teutonic Order once again marched towards certain victory. The large crusading army defeated several smaller incursions, managing to cross the Peipus River relatively unmolested. It was here, after a large host was spotted, that the Grand Master and his council sought a decisive victory. Unknowingly, the Teutonic Order ventured deeper into enemy territory. Their marching in column became longer and more unorganized. The armies of Novgorod and Kiev lay in wait, seeking a decisive victory themselves. Their manpower had been severely limited due to the Mongol incursions, and every man lost would be irreplaceable. Once again, the Teutonic Order's eagerness for battle has betrayed them. Will the Teutonic vanguard army be annihilated, or will they survive to see another day? Only one thing is certain: their sword arms shall tire, but their faith shall be everlasting. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to some more Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. We are diving in with another epic scenario battle. This one will be a kind of like a campaign battle, much like my Rise of Mordor series, where the dwarves march to retake Gundabad. This is an Eastern Crusade. The Teutonic Order looking to, make up for their defeats over at the Battle of the Ice, and it should be really exciting. So as I said, this is a scenario multiplayer battle. So if you don't know what these are, basically these are a campaign series of battles that lead on from one another, with the result of said battle kind of creating the story for the next. For example, with this one, if the Teutonic Vanguard can claim victory, they're going to march on towards Novgorod, and I assume we're going to get a pretty goddamn epic siege battle. Whereas if the Teutonic Order here are smashed and that their vanguard is sent packing, then they'll have to retreat back behind the river Peipus and have to defend a castle just beyond that. So again, there are stakes to this battle. Not only that, casualties will play a big part in this multiplayer campaign. So when I don't think the actual normal troops, if they die, it's not really a big deal, they'll get replenished. However, the knights, they said, are irreplaceable. So if the kind of like the noblemen end up dying, which is going to mainly be, I think, any dismounted infantry, and also obviously the Ritterbruder, the majority of the Teutonic Order cavalry, if any of that dies, then it won't be coming back in the next battle. So this is a great opportunity for either side to try and take out their noble units, because if they do that, it's going to make the later tier battles much easier. It really is. So yeah, big shout out to the guys who sent this in to me and obviously played it. I really appreciate it. You guys seem to really enjoy the Rise of Mordor scenario battle, and if you guys enjoy this one, make sure you let me know, because if these videos do particularly well on likes and comments, I will 100% do more of them. So if you want to see more of these goddamn awesome looking battles, then yeah, drop a comment down below, and maybe I'll do episode 2 if we hit a right number of likes. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments, and obviously that like button as well. So we took a look at the armies really quickly. You can see a little scouting force moving out there as well. Some of the medium shock cavalry almost alluring the Teutonic Order into a trap. I love to see it as they're moving in, and kind of trying to force the Teutonic Order to be like, oh look, there's the enemy, let's pursue them, there's scouts, and then they're going to find themselves in a very bad situation. But as we go down the battle line for the Teutonic Order, you can see that they do have some of their spear infantry kind of scattering these initial front ranks. We also on the left hand side have a unit of archers. Again, I believe the Teutonic Order have access to a lot of lighter tier archers, so nothing too crazy. We have some axemen who are going to be very vulnerable to rear charges if they're not careful. We've got some more heavy spearmen. The main bulk of the Teutonic Order kind of strength is going to come in their cavalry, of course. These Ritterbruder and all the other kind of elite knights that they have are going to be super scary if they can use them correctly. However, obviously keep in mind as well that the formation itself is very much in a column, so they're going to be struggling there. Again, some more of the Teutonic Order infantry here, some more heavy cavalry, and we have also got a Grand Master cavalry. Yeah, we've got a Grand Master bodyguard here as well. moving its way forward. We also have some cavalry scattered off to the wind. I assume these will be like reinforcing cavalry or something along them lines. Again, this is a scenario battle, so the idea is that the players are kind of playing out a scenario, but then as soon as kind of the scenario ends, like as soon as the battle starts, they then just start taking things really seriously and going for the engagements. For the forces of Kiev, I was about to say Kiev and Rus, which I guess is what they are, but for Kiev, we have a bunch of their dismounted knights here, so some really strong frontline infantry. These guys have very good stats as well. 35 melee attack is always very, very deadly, and as you can see, they're equipped with pretty good armor-piercing weapons as well, so able to get themselves stuck in. We also have some, some more of these kind of two-handed axes right here. Again, really good armor-piercing, great for killing Western knights, I guess. A bunch of archers. We've got some javelins further down here, which again, great for piercing armor and doing damage. We also have a ton of cavalry situated out here, and we also have kind of a reinforcing army as well. I assume what happened was basically in the scenario, Kiev and Rusk have set up like multiple ambushes in case the Teutonic Order line went maybe down here. They wanted to make sure that they were in there, and then these guys will position themselves to obviously reinforce when the ambush is sprung. They'll kind of make their way in, or maybe try to close off the retreat for them and prevent them going in. But yeah, right now we are simply just waiting. The ambushing forces are just preparing themselves. Also, I've got to say as well, the atmosphere for this battle is awesome. I love the look of this over here in the east. It's a really nice kind of like snowy, arid battlefield. It looks really nice indeed. Love the look of it. So let's jump ahead now until the Teutonic Order have marched into the trap. Okay guys, so the armies have now entered the belly of the beast. The jaws of the wolf are about to collapse, I can only imagine, as the armies themselves march in. It's going to be very interesting to see when they do launch this ambush. Are they going to wait until the entire rear guard have made their way into the ambush, or are they going to go just basically, because we already have, two of the armies have already committed their way down here, so are we going to see it now? And I think that is exactly what is going to happen. The rear army has now been sent over. The arrow fire is coming in, and it's a trap. It's a trap, as Admiral Akbar would say. The volleys come out of the woods. Why are the trees speaking Russian? Well, that, my friend, is that there are some large forces coming their way. As I said as well, over 10,000 men on this battlefield as the Teutonic Order quickly try and form a rank. Cavalry pouring out of the forest, and obviously this cavalry is going to be so valuable. Rear charges are going to be great at disrupting the lines. The Teutonic Order quickly attempt to form the line, and my god, I love the color grading. Attila has awful color grading, and it's always so dark, but this time it looks really good. Really good indeed, as the cavalry maneuver their way around, obviously finding lines in there. Oh, a nice charge there by the Teutonic Order Ritterbruder, getting stuck in against the Axemen, doing serious damage, over 50 casualties there, however, taking javelin fire, and that's going to be the dangerous thing, is the amount of missile fire that Kiev and Rus do have access to as the Teutonic Order retaliate back with their own axes. The fighting really commencing, man. This is truly epic, guys. If you are enjoying this, do not forget to drop a like and a comment. Let's get this out to as many people as possible as the Teutonic Order come clashing in, rear charging against Kiev and their warriors. Really nice stuff here as we got more and more cavalry moving in. Obviously soldiers from the other side as well, and now the rear guard is being committed to this fight, sending their way forward, obviously almost funneling their way in. It seems like the Teutonic Order generals have decided that their goal is not to kind of retreat out. They're going to try and make a stand here, set up a defensive position, and go from there. We have some spearmen there, because they're entering more soldiers into this defensive position, looking to bolster their lines as best as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if we did end up seeing the cavalry getting maneuvered out, and that's exactly what we are seeing. Cavalry being sent round. One of the generals, though, one of the Grandmaster bodyguards, have actually sent their way out and actually are engaging some Kiev and Rus cavalry. However, that general unit is pretty low, and any cavalry that can kind of find their way over there, I mean, there's plenty of cavalry to send, is being sent in. I mean, so far, the Teutonic Order have done a great job on this initial ambush, and the other two forces, which are now making their way over to the battlefield, are going to be kind of delayed. Obviously, these forces were set up like this due to the scenario and due to the idea of, like, you know, they don't know exactly where the Teutonic Order are marching, but they've set up kind of 4 ambushes, so wherever they do go in the battle map, they will be able to kind of meet them and bring them down. So, you know, obviously that's very, very cool. But so far, the Kievan infantry are definitely struggling. Also as well, Kievan and Rus do also have 3,000 more men on the battlefield as well. So they definitely have the numbers advantages. Oh, one of the generals are dead? Yeah, that general fighting the archers, I think, has been slain as more cavalry now get thrown in. So that's one general's, that's one of the Grandmaster bodyguards they no longer have to deal with. However, there is still plenty more. It seems like they've ripped a hole over on this right-hand side. Yeah, they've done a very nice amount of damage here, ripping through this position. And this will hopefully allow them to completely kind of reconsolidate their forces and then bring them round. Because obviously they're going to have 2 more armies marching their way in very, very quickly to bolster them ranks as the ambush does continue. But getting this cavalry out here is huge, able to run down and do some decent damage. However, there's plenty of horses here that could just find themselves marching on the Ritterbrüder. Again, remember, every noble unit that dies, which again is mainly probably the cavalry. I'm not sure exactly what noble units Kievan and Rusk have. I'm not sure if that infantry is classed as noble units. Again, I'm sure they can let us know in the comments down below, as I'm sure they'll be watching this video. But yeah, remember, you know, casualties really do matter as the Teutonic Order come in here for another epic charge. Here we go, right into the side of the elite cavalry. No quarter. The Eastern Crusades are in full-fledged combat. And the Teutonic Order Knights doing pretty good, pinning this cavalry in place, allowing it not to out-maneuver. However, the left flank for the Teutonic Order is breaking. This is the flank we've seen without much cavalry support. And as you can see, it's truly coming in, but they don't have much cavalry support. Infantry just fleeing. They need Grandmasters there to keep the line. Obviously, I know there's only 1 Grandmaster, but in this battle, there's probably 4. Yeah, obviously, as you can see, they need that horse over here. They need the horse reinforcing, recharging, relieving the pressure as both sides fight for their chosen lands and gods. But yeah, looking pretty rough right here on the left-hand side. Able to completely, actually these Kievan Rusk units have been completely surrounded and are going to be breaking due to the pressure of the cavalry. That's what I'm saying. The power of that cavalry is great. However, reinforcements have arrived on this left flank. More cavalry, more archers, and a whole ton of extra spearmen. This unit of Grandmaster's bodyguards going to get hit in the side by some horses, holding them in place, allowing the archers to rack up a few more kills. And there are only 50 horses in this unit as well, so you have to be so goddamn careful. And if they're not, they could end up losing another general there. If we take a look at the overview of the battlefield, because it is one messy engagement, we now have the reinforcing armies coming in here, supporting that initial army that is still pretty much alive. And then we also have this force moving its way in right there. So, you know, a decent setup there. And obviously also an army here. But again, the Teutonic Order are kind of managing to, I guess, curve their ranks after dealing with that initial ambush. And they're falling back to the hill. So they're going to take this at height advantage. However, archers can do a lot more. And basically just kind of create a one-front battle. Oh, 3 units of cavalry smashing into that poor Teutonic Order unit. They were in shield wall, luckily, but that's going to be a painful. That really is. I mean, actually, they're doing pretty good. That shield wall held very effectively. Able to send the enemy cavalry back with a handful less horses than they arrived with. A rear charge, though, is not going to be as effective, and the Teutonic Order are really focusing on just simply pushing their way back. Cavalry coming in, trying to disrupt as many units as possible. That's really what they're trying to do. They're just trying to disrupt the Teutonic Order, throwing away some of their own units, but basically just disrupting that retreat so that when their other 2 armies do arrive, they can really pounce on the enemy ranks. See these spearmen, you know, kind of dispatched from the rest of their ranks. A man going down, unfortunately getting axed in the back. Cavalry moving on. I think that's a unit routed. Yeah, there you go. More units have routed. But as I said, overall, like, the Teutonic Order have done a good job at falling back. However, that Banter power bar is not looking good. Numbers-wise, we have 7,000 left alive for Kievan Rus, and we only have 4,000 left for the forces of the Teutonic Order. And they are in full-on retreat right now, trying to pull their way out, but obviously losing men as they pull back here. I guess they're just trying to take like the height of the hill that they can then kind of form a good defense on, use this woodland to nullify the archers. But obviously, you know, these guys are in full-on assault mode right now. Teutonic Order getting a nice little charge off there into the back of these knights, even though that was kind of a bit anticlimactic. No lances splitting there. But a rear charge should be able to see this unit of senior Drazenia killed. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Kind of looking almost Byzantine. I guess, you know, they kind of are, you know, similarly having that influence. But yeah, right now, just a full-on retreat up this hill. But as you can see, they are in a hot pursuit. There's one unit over here as well, is so far away. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the cavalry moving their way in. Yeah, and the poor rear guards who have just been left here to slap the enemy are now finding themselves getting cut down. I mean, to be expected, though, from an ambush like this. Yeah, they're just getting their way out of here. And it'll be interesting to see if they do decide to try and just retreat soldiers as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a valid tactic as well. And also, I think it should almost be encouraged as well in these scenario battles to some extent. I don't know what you could do, but it would be great to see, like, if you did retreat units off the field of battle, maybe you get double back in the next battle, you know? If you get rid of a knight unit, maybe then you get, like, half a unit back. And if you manage to retreat 2 knight units, then maybe you get an entire knight unit back in the next battle or something like that. You know, give the players a chance to, like, maybe cut their losses and then just get out of there after a prolonged battle has occurred. Yeah, that unit of Ritterbruder being killed right there. Pretty brutal indeed. However, as you can see, they have much of their defense. Spearmen on the front line. They've got a lot of archers as well. Their archers are pretty much untouched. So here we go. This is going to be where they make their stand. Outnumbered almost by 3,000 men. They're going to have to hold that line. Reforming, shuffling back into position. Archers ready to start putting down the hurt, and they do have a lot of that missile fight. You know, these crossbows have all their bolts still left remaining. They obviously have archers up here as well. So this is going to be a pretty brutal assault up the hill, honestly. Because they've obviously got spearmen to fight, and then behind that, just tons of crossbowmen. Still got infantry as well. It's going to be up to Kievan Rus to obviously envelop this position with their sheer numbers, because I mean that is a lot of soldiers left remaining. Really is. There are still some routed units as well. This yellow army seemingly took a pounding in that initial assault. It really did. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much literally a 2,900 man advantage. But these archers can definitely whittle that down. They still have plenty of cavalry over on this flank as well. And it doesn't seem like Kievan Rus have as much cavalry. But again, they've kind of stocked themselves over on this left-hand side, so we'll have to see how that one does play out. Another archer volley sending their arrows flying. Unfortunately, going through some of the forest, which is going to be hurting them. Probably able to take down a few of these smeared infantry. These guys all use it. They've already used all their javelins, so not really a particularly scary unit indeed. But let's jump ahead until these armies have formed up and are ready to push up the hill. Okay, here we go. And I mean, to be fair, like the Teutonic Order have had time now to like regain their composure. They've reformed a decent battle line. They've rested from their initial battle, so they should be in pretty good states. Whereas Kievan Rus have been kind of reforming for the past 5 minutes. They now have to march uphill under heavy missile fire. So it's going to be an interesting battle, honestly. And it'll be very exciting to see how the next battle turns out in the series, whether they get pushed back beyond the river, or they march on towards Novgorod and try and burn the city down, I guess, for their losses. I imagine the city will be getting sacked if it is taken. Right now, though, the Kievan Rus need to just keep up that momentum. Get your asses up this hill, because it is a steep one. And, yeah, there is a lot of soldiers maneuvering around. Cavalry on this right flank, really stocking up that cavalry over on that side, and basically just preventing any charges. And to be fair, though, Some charges here would be deadly. This shock infantry unit would not be able to withstand a charge from any of his cavalry, so very interesting indeed. And the battle line is extremely vast as well. So many men stretching all the way out to this left-hand side as well. Missile fire continuing to volley info, really whittling down some of these units, focusing this front line. And morale-wise as well, you can see their vigor is pretty low now, whereas obviously the Teutonic Order vigor is looking pretty good. Them crossbows moving in, and here we go. The infantry lines are now clashing, sending forward some of their weaker lines first. Just go down this battle line. Plenty of reserves. That's one of the things that Kievan Rusk have in their favor, are just numbers. Soldiers ready to take up the positions. Some pretty good soldiers here as well from Kievan Rusk as well. They got some heavier chainmail sword infantry, which I can only imagine would do pretty good. Got some flanking units though, some axes being sent out here, looking to actually envelop. Yeah, I mean, this is a smart idea by the Teutonic Order, not playing super passive, getting their axes involved where they can, able to break some soldiers on that corner. That's actually a really smart idea going in, because as you guys can see, there's a large amount of the Kievan Rusk forces who are going to be slow to reinforce this. You know, they have to march a long way uphill, so you like almost collapsing these flanks is not a bad idea right now. And they've got cavalry guarding their sides as pretty decently as well. So yeah, as you can see, the Axemen just getting themselves stuck in. Very much a smart move here, seeing that at least half of the Kievan Rusk army is very much delayed. And will be in slow quarter getting up here. Taking advantage of that, smashing their axes into the armor and the chest plates. Just trying to rout them again. That's like the main thing right here, is just simply routing your enemy. Ah, that looks so dope. Teutonic Order looking absolutely awesome. As the Axemen push further forward, just trying to do as much damage as possible. As you can see, this formation is under a lot of pressure and could break at any moment. Oh, a big cavalry push right there. A big cavalry assault. Looking to probably try and wrap this up, pinning one of the enemy generals in place as well. Again, cutting the head off the snake is so important in these battles. That's exactly what they are trying to do. The cavalry moving in. Yeah, and if they can kill this general, that's going to send a shockwave throughout the rest of the enemy lines. And they continue to falter in. More cavalry as well, guarding that position. However, as you can see, the flanks are, but kind of like the wings are starting to close now as well. However, they do not mind. They are happy to sacrifice a unit of Struderbruden if it does mean they can break some more of his infantry. The enemy general is very close to breaking. If he goes down, oh, it would be so good for the Teutonic Order. And there is a big break right here. I mean, both sides are looking pretty shaky when it comes to morale. Like, realistically, as you guys can see, this battle stands upon a knife edge. And all it takes is one big rout somewhere, and it could really turn the tides of the battle. If these guys break, though, that would be pretty huge. I also really love as well the way that the Teutonic Order have sent soldiers down the hill. Again, just to cause like a disruption as much as they can. They know that these units are basically going to their deaths, but they're sending them just so that the rest of the infantry can't reinforce. And yeah, there you go, that unit getting cut down. The Struderbruder, unfortunately, being slain. That cavalry out there, big mass rout over on this right-hand side. The Teutonic Order heavy horse really getting themselves stuck in. Able to really rack up the kills. And if they can wrap up this flank, that's going to give them not fresh units, but 4 more units. However, we are getting shock cavalry being sent over here as well. There's also, there's a general unit right here as well. We need 2 general units soon. They need to be very careful of. Big routes over on this right-hand side. However, more reinforcements are now arriving, being lobbed in. The morale on both sides is just shattering. All that arrow fire as well, solely focusing in on this big blob of cavalry. A nice little charge down there. It's going to send a lot of these soldiers going, flying. One of the advantages of taking this hill as well for Teutonic Order is they get that hill bonus when they do go charging at enemy lines. But the Axes are also a great unit after that initial charge. The Axes do a very good job at killing cavalry as well. It gives them the ability to obviously use that heavy armor piercing to clatter into the armor of the heavy horse. However, I don't think this battle is going to be one of the flanks. I think it's going to be one of the front lines, honestly. It's whether or not the Teutonic Order can hold their nerve in this battle. Because I think morale is going to be the biggest part of this battle. And whether or not we see one side break or another one holding the line. Oh, one of the generals going down. That's going to be bad. That's going to ricochet through the ranks as word spreads. And if they can kill the other general as well, which I think they're going to probably have a good job. Yeah, another general going down as well. So 2 generals, Sakivi and Rust, being slain. As you can see, look at that, routing. Soldiers are hearing that their leaders are going, and look at that rout. The men are fleeing for their lives right now. That is bad. That's going to free up so many more units for the Teutonic Order to match their battle lines. Crossbows going in. Kiwi and Rust do have a pretty nice play on this right-hand side. Some very good soldiers clattering in. They need a break themselves. They need an enemy general kill. They need to finish these guys off. Because if they don't break through soon, the battle is almost lost, I think. Because the front, central, kind of battle lines look pretty bad. The cavalry are doing pretty good. Got some cavalry now wrapping around and can start racking up some decent kills. However, the archers are doing a great job here. It's very hard in 12-12 to get your cavalry into the enemy back line, especially after the battle has already erupted, because archers in 12-12 are actually fairly resilient, especially the higher tier ones. And then you just kind of create a crossfire like this and you massacre the cavalry as it comes in. So kind of unsupported cavalry charges generally really do struggle. But yeah, look at that. I mean, it's just routing. The Teutonic Order morale is holding. What is the morale on these units as well? Just out of interest. So these guys have a morale of 33. That's not great. Yeah, I mean, but both sides have similar morale. These guys have pretty good boosted morale units. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you know, these armies have a very, very similar setup. And I think, again, it's that fatigue coming in and playing a massive part in this battle. As units get tired, the morale really does shock. But here we go. A nice little flank coming around, but it's a little bit too late. Hundreds of Kiwi and Rust soldiers are just mass routing on this flank, exhausted. And are going. And I don't know, the battle's looking pretty good. Fire arrows coming in as well. This could be a double-edged sword, though. Seeing these units break, like the fire arrows are also debuffing your own soldiers as well. And there you go, 2 more units breaking. The fire arrows were not a good idea. Got some infantry here charging. Are we going to get onto these crossbows? They are indeed, as the counter charge comes in. I mean, that's exactly what the Axis want. The other units can continue to be shooting, I imagine. I don't know. I think the Teutonic Order have this battle. Their front line's holding, but their numbers are very low. That's the one thing they don't have for them. And the center has now broken, meaning that these archers can get stuck on. But again, the morale is very low. Yeah, these units are just exhausted. They really are just so tired that they're just, you know, almost routing. Take a bit of missile fire. Your friend Bob dies in the left of you, and you're gone. I mean, balance power is still very even, though. Both sides are not really having any advantage. Kiwi and Rust still have a 700-man advantage. But how long is that going to last? If this center breaks, it's not looking good. The crossbows come back. The left flank is also now crumbling. So these axes can come around. If these axes can get stuck in, that is huge. It really comes down to who breaks who before, like, in this battle. It really does. Who breaks first? Honestly, is there any cavalry? There's no cavalry left either. That cavalry's all routed. And we'll have to obviously check the kills at the end of the battle to see who has gone down. That left flank breaking. These axes doing such good work. Able to rip through the enemy rank. They need to get around here ASAP. Just envelop these guys. It says the battle's turning in favor of Kiwi and Rust. Are the Teutonic Order done for here? Are they going to be able to rally? I don't know. I think they are. I think them axes are just the MVPs of the battle, able to crush that left flank exactly when they needed to. And with the Teutonic Order are starting to look shaky. I don't think there's any units that can kill these guard axemen. These guard axemen are a very decent unit. Like, they're like some of the best shock infantry they have access to. And I don't think like these units aren't going to break when they get tired. So I think these guys are going to be enough to probably wrap up this for a victory and push the Teutonic Order back behind the river. Yeah, there seems like there's just too many men left. That arrow fire coming in. Did I say that though? These axes are dropping. I honestly don't know. This battle could go either way. A nice little charge there with some of the Teutonic Order axemen getting stuck in on these javelins. They're probably going to break almost immediately as soon as them axes start getting some kills. Again, if we just take a look at the overall battle landscape, Teutonic Order are coming down, just trying to break, again, these archers. It really comes down to what army mass routes, like what army suffers from losses first. If they can get some crossfire on these, that'd be great if they can break this unit of archers. The hunters, who, again, don't really have great morale. These guys are fairly lightly armored. And there you go. What's that? That unit broke? I mean, I don't know. I'm literally lost for words. I don't know who's going to win this battle. The archer fire coming in is very close to breaking the Teutonic Order, but they only have like 5 units left. And if they can kill this unit of axes, I mean, that unit of axes there is so scary, but it's also shaken and exhausted. I mean, surely Kiwi and Rusk have this battle, but now some of their soldiers back here are starting to break. Luckily, they're gone. Yeah, there you go. I think Kiwi and Rusk are going to take this battle, but my God. What an insane engagement with fire arrows coming in now as well. Them axemen won them the battle. These units who actually have fairly decent morale, but yeah, they have like 10 more morale than the other basic troops. Whew, what a battle. 600 men left remaining. And it's going to be very interesting to see what units did survive as the battle does get wrapped up. As many kills, just trying to get as many. And it was a Pyrrhic victory indeed. You are victorious, but at what cost? Many have paid the ultimate price, and that indeed they have. It'd be very interesting to see if any of his cavalry did get fully killed. Again, I'm not sure how they're working it out. I'm sure they can let us know in the comments down below. You know, how exactly, like, do these guys survive? Does this guy die? You know, like, how do we determine what noble units don't make it onto the next battlefield? It'd be awesome to know, because obviously that was such a Pyrrhic victory. Both sides really took a lot of casualties. But yeah, it seems like the Teutonic Order are being pushed back behind the river, looking to, I guess, hold up in and try and reform as best they can. The advantage will be in Kiwi and Rusk, but they are also attacking a castle. So will they be able to do it? If you guys want to see that battle, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below. Let's go ahead and do kind of like smash the likes on this video. It'd be amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next one.